when the feeling's gone and you can't go on.
We are heading to Australia as well as the UK on this week's Late Night with Monica Price, as I'm joined by my guests Deborah McLean and Nick Endicott Gibb from the duo Cousins Gibb. Both of these incredibly talented singers are from the famous Gibb family, the BeeGees, and their musical talents have come together to launch a hauntingly beautiful version of the classic Bee Gees song, Tragedy. Whilst Deborah has been wowing audiences in Australia with her performances, Nick has been doing exactly the same here in the UK. So it seemed only natural that these two would eventually work together and form what is set to be a world-class act. Let's take a look into their lives and discover how this all began on Late Night with Monica Price.
With no one to love you, you're going away. Tragedy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Late Night with Monica Price. I'm delighted to say that I have Deborah McLean and Nick Endicott Gibb with me today, who have formed together an amazing duet called Cousins Gibb. Now we're going to be talking about their new set that they're going to be doing and their new single, so welcome to you both.
Hi Monica.
Hello.
Hello. Right.
Hello, and Deborah is
Hey.
in Australia.
Yes.
Now, just to set the scene, Deborah, you are the daughter of Leslie Gibb, and who is, of course, the sister. Leslie is the sister of your brothers, which is Barry, Robin, and Maurice. And Nick, telling the family tree here. Nick, you are obviously the son of Maurice, and of course, that's what makes you cousins. Hence the name, of course, Cousins Gibb.
Yeah.
But guys, I have listened to the single. It's coming out on the 30th of July. And it's incredible. So, Nick, I want to go to you first. You obviously have been musical most of your life, and you have a band called The Speak that you perform in.
Okay,
What made you decide to get together with Deborah and do this single?
Well, Leslie contacted me. I got my DNA confirmation a couple of years ago, and Leslie contacted me, welcomed me as her new nephew, and we had a great chat. She told me all about her daughter Debbie and what a lovely voice she's got and how we should connect, and we did very soon after that, and we've just been chatting and talking about all the things we've been doing in the past over the last year, and passing things to each other, and had this idea that, hey, it would be great to do something together and record together. So
And for you, Deborah, what was it like for you when you kind of had this opportunity to do something with Nick?
Brilliant. I'd heard things that he'd done, and yeah, I thought he was great. So, and then we got this opportunity. So when he sent the track through to me, I thought it was absolutely amazing.
Now, Deborah, your mum Leslie used to actually be on stage, didn't she, with the Gibbs themselves? So is she very supportive of what you're doing now with Nick?
Very supportive, yes. So, and my greatest critic as well. She's very quick to tell me when it's a bad note. Well, she goes, that doesn't sound quite right. Thank you.
But it's really so lovely that you've come together, and Nick, for you, it must be incredible.
Absolutely,
you know, you've been on this journey. I've interviewed you before. You know, how does it make you feel now being in contact with the family and actually doing something musical together?
It's great. It's funny because it's one thing that I always used to be envious of, was, you know, acts like the Everly Brothers and, you know, the Kinks, and, you know, and even up to Oasis, and just brothers and you know, blood relatives singing and harmonizing together, and working musically together. I've always been envious of that because I never had that, and I always wish that I you know, wonder what it would be like to harmonize with someone you're related to, because there is a syncopated, a natural synchronicity, I think, with people who are related. And this, now that this is coming, this is brilliant because I'm finally I'm finally harmonising with someone I'm related to. It's great.
Yay! Which, and it really is. I mean, you've done the cover of Tragedy, one of probably the Gibbs, the Bee Gees' most famous songs.
One of the biggest, yeah, I think.
Biggest. So it's one that people relate to. First of all, what made you choose that song?
Well, I was just having, running through some ideas of what we could do together, and I thought it'd be nice if we did something that we could both connect to family-wise, but do it in a different way. Find something that we could do together and but do it differently. And when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, it's about a couple of years ago now, that made me think a lot about what to do as well. And I wanted to do something which, could raise some money for the RA charities, not only financially, but also, creating awareness to RA, because it's a hidden disease. A lot of people don't realise people have it. You don't know if you've got, people don't. It's it's something you don't see all the time. You don't, see someone on the street. Oh, he's got rheumatoid arthritis. It can be hidden, and it's when someone's going through that, it's a lot to go through. And so the idea really came about. It sort of hit me, the poignancy of the words in Tragedy, and I thought it would be lovely to do that, but in a more of a a different way, really.
Yeah, and it is. It's a very melodic, it's beautiful. The way you've done it, I have to say, I keep listening to it. It's beautiful. And for you, Deborah, what was it about that song? Was obviously you had a discussion about it with Nick, but for you, did it have any particular kind of meaning and poignancy for you?
Nick's condition. Yeah. So I don't know, as corny as it sounds, just put yourself in the zone and tell the story. So that's how it felt when I was singing it. So I really just wanted to feel it. So, and I hope that comes across.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. And is there any plans, Nick, for you to do more? I mean, this one, as we say, comes out on the 30th of July, so not long now. Is there any plans to do more together?
Absolutely. Yeah. As soon as we did this, we realised how well our voices complemented each other, and we were overly excited of doing more and working together on more stuff, as soon as possible.
Yes, of course. So as soon as travel restrictions allow us, of course. But is there any plans for you to go over to Australia, Nick, or indeed Deborah to come over to the UK? What's going to happen?
I think one of us would go either way. As soon as we could. I'd go tomorrow if I could.
Go to Australia, Nick. Go to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We haven't even met yet, and we've done this track together and been chatting together for like I said, I think over a year now, and it would just be lovely to meet up in person, and connect properly.
Isn't that incredible? You've done all this wonderful creativity, but you haven't actually met each other. Let's just take stock of that for a moment. And I mean, and your family. And again, when you were singing, Deborah, for you, did you feel the harmonies? Because you certainly feel it. It's a song that gives you goosebumps. Actually, did you feel that connection yourself?
The harmony just came naturally. I felt it was just so easy to sing to. So and it felt natural. So for the first time, I wasn't told how to sing a song or how to sound for a song. It was just me. So it just felt very, very natural. Yeah. I just fell into it. So. Yeah.
And musically, Debs, what were you doing before obviously Nick came along? What was happening with you there?
Singing all my life. I never shut up. So never. So no, singing professionally for over 20 years now. So in Sydney. And doing big band shows. So yeah, I'll open a show, I'll do backing harmonies, I will do characters. But again, it's very regimented, and it's someone else's show that you're employed to do. So there's a certain way you need to sound. So over the years, I didn't realise I was doing it to myself. I was actually suffocating or suppressing what I can do. So working with Nick, I'm now discovering that side of myself as well.
Wow.
So which is exciting. Yeah.
That's really interesting because I have as well. You
Yeah.
know, it's how I approach vocals and have been approaching vocals with other projects and the band I've got now is different. You know, and to be doing this with Debbie is it's opening up my natural voice a lot more as well, and I'm really happy with how that's sort of sounding. And you know, to approach a song in this way is it's sort of made me more aware of what my natural voice is, and I think I've been shying away from that a bit, you know, in the past. That you know, sort of developing a voice for bands is you know for live rock bands and things like that is completely different. But this has enabled me to be more natural, you know.
It's so exciting that, you know, I can feel the positivity, which is fantastic. And it's terribly exciting to think you've got together in a time when, you know, COVID has kept us all separate, but creativity and music has brought you together. And for you, Nick, how when you first kind of was made aware of Debbie and you know, the fact that she was musical, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it's incredible. You know, I say when I was talking to Leslie about Debbie and you know how that she'd been singing like for so long, and I should hear her, and you know maybe we should get together. And then straight away was I got excited then. Oh, I want to know who she is. You know, my cousin. You know, and she's a singer as well. Fantastic. You know,
Yes.
I couldn't wait to connect. You know.
And isn't it great, Debs, that your mum is so supportive of you?
Yeah, no, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's
And I mean,
absolutely brilliant.
the whole of the you know, the Bee Gees family really, you know, it's just a musical family, and this clearly is showing, you know, through with you as cousins, of course. But I mean,
Yeah.
Maurice himself actually recorded some singles, you know, on his own solo. But have you ever thought about together, or Nick, have you ever thought about actually re-recording those, or just perhaps reinventing those and then getting those out?
You know, I was before I came up with the idea of Tragedy. I thought that maybe it would be nice to do some early versions of because a particular band I've got now is quite 60s influence, 60s, 90s influence. And I really liked their early stuff because it was quite Beatles sounding, you know, obviously because it was at the time. And I thought maybe I could do some versions of their early stuff, you know, perhaps in the way that I'd approach my band. And that was sort of the first idea. But then I thought it'd be nicer, I think, to do something that people know and are familiar with, or more familiar with, but not in the sense of you know re-recording and harmonising with recordings. Not really, because I'm more interested, and we're both more interested in writing, you know, original stuff and
Yes.
getting on with original songs, you know, more than more covers or anything like that.
Yeah. Actually, that was going to be one of my questions. Have you written together, Deborah? I'll put it to you first. Is there anybody any writing going on?
Well, Nick's sending some stuff through,
Yeah.
and I've jotted a few things down.
Yeah.
So, but currently working on one of Nick's pieces at the moment. So,
That's great.
yeah, it's
And that
very
again, that
exciting.
must make you feel very excited to think you're going to have your own work together. You know, out
Yeah.
as Cousins Gibb. You know, and for you, Nick, you know, you've been, as you said, in a band. You know, and for you, Debbie, as well. You know, you've been musically to come together like this. Would you ever kind of hope that Barry might call upon you? Because lots of artists have done that when, unfortunately, family members have passed. You know, the rest of the family kind of gets together, the cousins, you know, the nieces, the nephews, the sons, the daughters. Would that be something that both of you would like to do? Do something with Barry, if indeed he ever wanted to do something like that?
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a lovely gesture, but I mean, really, I don't know if he can afford it.
That's the biggest question, actually. Yeah.
Quite right.
We open that one first, and then we might think about it.
Yes, that's right. And for you both, what sort of, Nick, you're writing, obviously you're a singer-songwriter, so you've been writing. What sort of songs do you feel would be best suited for you both? Are you going to go down for that sort of, as you do with the Speaks, that is a very 1960s vibe going on. What sort of genre, I hate really to say that word genre, but is there any kind of way that you're going with it with your creative work?
There's going to be no rules. There's going to be no expectations. I think we're just going to see what happens together and see what develops with how we're both influenced, because we're both influenced by so many different things, and I think we'll come together on some ideas and not. I wouldn't say genres either. I don't want to, I don't think we should be part of any genre. We should just do what comes together and see how it develops. Really, I've got no, I don't want it to be a certain way. Really,
No. And that's a
I
good
don't think
thing,
you
though.
did either, do you, Deb? Just wanted to see how it.
No, it's just
really.
exploring what's coming naturally at the moment. I think we're getting enough out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it under any certain genre at all, but yeah, it's just identifying. We're really just exploring at the moment. So,
I think it'll be quite a chocolate box,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yes, absolutely. Now, how long have you both been in contact? When did you first kind of get to know about each other?
Well, it is about a year, isn't it, Debbie? Something
About that,
about that length, really. We obviously started chatting on Messenger when once we connected back and forth, and then once we started to sort of connect a bit more, we then started to FaceTime and Zoom and stuff like that, and then we've carried on, and it just so about a year, just about a year. I can't believe we haven't met yet.
I was going to say yes, but thank goodness for technology. Isn't it amazing that it's keeping all this together? And many musicians, have actually become extremely creative because they've been forced to, because they're not out on the road, not doing any gigs. And both of you will know that situation. But of course, you're in the UK, Nick. Debbie, you're in Australia. How fantastic that when this single releases, that it's going to be, or already it's global before you've even done anything. So Debbie, what's the kind of anticipation of when you release this single? Have you got lots of people already waiting for it, with bated breath?
Well, no one knows about it.
They do now. They will now.
I kept this so to myself. There's only a handful of people that know about it.
Yeah.
Was that on purpose? I was so protective of it because it's so unique. So I just thought, no, get the project right.
Yeah.
And like Mum's only just heard it the other day, so it was, that took her back. So, but she absolutely loved it.
I was going to say, did she love it?
Yeah, she said, I'm glad I waited now, because she was like, can I hear? Can I hear? No, not until it's finished. Yeah. So,
it has developed,
It's
been developing. I've been passing certain versions back and forth, and ended up with some lovely musicians on it as well. We've got a lovely pianist.
Yes, tell us about that, Nick. Tell us about who else is kind of accompanying you.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Christian Smith. He's an amazing musician on all instruments and vocals, and he's been playing classically for a long time. And the immediate thought was it would be lovely if he was free to come and do some piano on this. I had the basic idea down, and as soon as he heard it, he couldn't wait to come over and be involved. So he came in I recorded his piano, went really well. We spent a few hours here doing that. And then I contacted Eddie Kramer. Now, Eddie Kramer is if you haven't heard of Eddie Kramer, check out Jimi Hendrix. And
yes, I have, Jimi.
Top guy from the 60s to now, very respected producer. And I met Eddie on a production course a couple of years ago, and learned a lot from him. And we've been in contact since. And it's lovely to be able to be in contact with someone like that, because the advice and the wisdom that he has is phenomenal. And as soon as he heard what I was doing, he was really excited and wanted to be involved as well. So he suggested, why don't we get another musician in as well to perhaps do some cor anglais or oboe, which I thought was a brilliant idea. So I then got hold of a guy called Don Kelly. Now he's played with Nigel Kennedy, Robert Plant, Madonna. He's done the Poirot music. He's like a top guy, and I got hold of him through this. It's like it's a website. You put your music up and you get work from, and people connect through that for finding musicians and stuff. And he's only in London, and he's done such a beautiful, amazing job it was incredible. He followed what ideas I had, but then just took them further, and it was amazing what he did. That gave me goosebumps. What he'd done, you know.
And it's good though, isn't it, to surround yourself by really credible musicians, really.
It really is. It really is. You know, I did the guitar and strings, but when everything came together with and then obviously then when Eddie mixed and mastered it, it was just, that's it. The icing was on the cake, and everything fell into place and sounded so good. And even though we both heard it, I mean, I'd obviously heard it for so long working on the track, and then Debbie had heard so many versions. Even after that, when it was finally done, it was like a renewed, fresh experience again of how great it had all come together. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And for you, Debbie, did you feel the same? Was it
absolutely?
Did it give you goosebumps?
Yeah. That final track came through. I think I listened to it over and over. I just kept going, wow. I was just totally taken back with it. So. Yeah.
And it's lovely that you've got, as I said, you know, you've got the support, you know, and you've got the kind of good people around you. And do you think that will continue, Nick? Is that what you want to? Hopefully you'll get together very soon. You know, we are opening up now, so the opportunities now will be able to, either for, you know, Debbie to come to here or you to go over to Australia. Yeah, what do you want to do? How do you see this, both of you? How do you see this both going? Will you be doing gigs together? Will, you know,
we're going to end up touring the world with our
fantastic
music and becoming absolutely,
that would be lovely. That would be lovely. Yes.
Amazing act, which it will be on everybody's lips and it will be on every radio station from now until forever.
Wonderful.
But if not, we'll give it a go anyway.
We'll give it a go anyway. We'll give it a go anyway. So if you had a tour, where would you first like to tour? Debbie, I'm going to put that question to you. Where would you first like to go? Would it be coming to the UK, or would you?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Come to the UK. And how about for you, Nick? If it wasn't the UK, where would you start? Would you start in Sussex, obviously Brighton, where you were, or would you go somewhere else?
I don't know. I mean, I'd just like us to do it wherever we can do it. You know, I would have thought London would probably be one of the.
Yeah, of course.
I hope that we can just sing and together and perform together as many places as we can, wherever, you know.
No, it's going to be amazing. And then, so what are you doing at the moment, Nick? Are you sort of getting ready for the next one? Have you had any thoughts, both of you, what the next, you know, track's going to be?
Yeah, I'd say there's an original track I've sent over to Deb for her to have a look through and have a sort of, you know, put some ideas on. And we're going to be working on that. And there's some other ideas which I'm working on. To basically get the ball rolling for us with original stuff, and we'll go from there. Like I say, you know, we'll be working together on new material together as well, not just ideas I've got. You know, and that'll be the thing to do as well. If we can meet up, if we can get together, if there's that possibility of, you know, the restrictions being eased enough for us to be able to meet and work together in the same room. That would be even better, you know.
That'd be so incredible, wouldn't it? It would. And Debbie, in Australia, what's the music scene like at the moment in Australia?
It isn't. It's COVID. We're actually locked down.
Still,
Still, I'm in Canberra. So Canberra's like a little bubble. We're protected. We don't have any cases in Canberra, but there's a lot of legislation for anyone that wants to come into Canberra.
Right.
With 2-week quarantine period. So, but New South Wales is under lockdown. So, yeah.
It's very difficult mandatory. And what about clubs? What about clubs and music venues? Is everything shut across the whole of Australia at the moment?
They're not shut, but it's reduced numbers. I did a show about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The room would have held a couple of hundred people easily. It was a dinner show. I think we had 70 people, all spaced apart. They weren't allowed to dance. They weren't allowed to sing. They had to wear their masks unless they were eating. It was just.
It's not the same, is it? You know, you go to You go to a concert
No.
because you want to get hot and sweaty and squeeze up the person you've never even met before in your life, and just shout and scream. It's so difficult. I mean, here in the UK, Nick will tell you, Debbie, that we've just, we're going to come out, within the next couple of weeks. All the music venues are going to be open. Fingers crossed, it's all going to go okay. It's a very interesting thing. And what about the music scene in Australia, Debbie? How do you think this, your new single Tragedy is going to be received there?
Oh, I have no idea. It's I'm anticipating it, but I have absolutely no idea. I think it will be well received.
I do too.
Because it is so different. Yeah.
And because you're working with a kind of a family that you're part of a family, I should say, that people already know globally. So for you, Nick, it's a different scene, isn't it, across the world, as you're aware. How do you think it's going to be received here in the UK?
Again, I don't know. I mean, like Debbie said, it's such a different version of such a well-known track.
Yeah.
That I think initially people will be wondering, what it is or when it starts, and then fall into the fact it's tragedy, and I think it's going to be an unexpected version, because no one has done it like in this way.
No.
But yeah, I can't see why it can't, that it won't be received really well, because it's come out so it's just come together really well, and it seems like it's naturally, it just falls into the way that we've done it quite naturally, and it's beautiful, and I don't think people will take it any other way.
Exactly. Well, listen, guys, it's been fantastic to speak to you both today. I wish you all the best of luck with it, and we'll certainly have you back on again when you're already touring. Either you're going to be in Australia, Nick, or Debbie, you're going to be over here. Either way, we'll just go to Australia. That's like a good plan.
Let's just both go over.
Oh, Nick, that's a definite plan. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Please come back and join me again next week.